Hello, hello, everybody. Come on in. It's Dr. Saundra, and welcome to Teach Her. I'm so excited to have you here on tonight, and we're going to get started in just a few minutes. Give you some time to come on in. Hear one of my favorite songs in the background. Put a praise on it. Been doing that all day long, putting a praise on it all day long. I tell you what, God is so good. And if you haven't had the opportunity, just give him a little bit of praise today. Take just a minute and just give him some praise. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take long. You don't have, if you're in your house right now, you don't have to worry about anybody seeing you. Just give God some praise that he got you up this morning. As my grandmother used to say, he started me on my way. He woke me up with the activity of my limbs, and I'm so excited about all of that. Amen. So now I'm going to turn this off. All right. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Come on in. Come on in. I'm going to turn over here and look at the computer to make sure we are on live. All right. Make sure I'm live in the right group. All right. Sometimes that happens. You don't go live in the appropriate group. Let me refresh the screen here. So come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. There we go. All right. If I can get it. There it is. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Hi, Yolanda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Oh, I see people are coming in now. Not sure what that delay was. Interesting. All right. Come on in. Come on in. Get your pencil and paper ready. You know, I'm not going to be on long tonight. And you know what? I say that every single time, don't I? I say that every single time. Hi, Yolanda. Welcome, welcome. I say that every single time that I'm not going to be on long, and I still end up being on here like an hour and 15 minutes. But you know what? I'll be frank with you. I didn't go to sleep this morning until 4:15 a.m., and then I had to get up because I had to be to the church early because I had something I needed to do at church. And so I went to bed really, really late, went to sleep really, really late, or really early in the morning. And then I had to get up like in 2.5 hours, get ready to go to church. Then I came home and, well, actually I didn't even come home. Let me get that right. Then we left church, went to my son's games. I was there from 2 until like 5:15. Then left there and went to dinner with friends. And I tell you what, I was whipped, okay? But I had a wonderful dinner with friends, celebrating a friend's birthday, and it was definitely a blessing to be able to do that. I must tell you, though, I fell asleep in the gym. I hope nobody took a picture. My son was sitting right beside me. He had finished his first game, and we were waiting on my husband. And my son came and sat beside me, and I leaned my head back, y'all, and I went to sleep. I know, it's a crying shame. But every now and then, you got to take a nap. Hopefully, nobody took a picture of me sleeping in the gym because I was asleep. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is Dr. Saundra. If you're watching this for the first time, if you're joining us for the first time, just send us a 1, type 1 in the chat box there. I'm glad to have everybody on tonight. And we're going to go ahead and get started because you know what? What I have tonight for you is really, really meat. Let me tell you why this is so important. Because I have been dealing and coaching and mentoring people for a very long time. Hey, Lily, welcome, welcome. Hey, Janet, how are you? Hi, Robin, good to see you. Hey, Valerie, good to see you. I have been, coaching and mentoring by profession. So for those of you that don't know a lot about me, I started, I graduated college in 85. That's been a long time ago. And then I started working in corporate. And, I started like all the little corporate jobs that we all have at some point or another when we worked in corporate right out of college. And I started after I got my master's. I got my undergrad and my master's in mathematics. And then I realized how much I love teaching and how much I love the classroom. So I went back and got my doctorate in education, started doing training and development in the kinds of things that I had been engineering all of those years. And I really loved training and development, stayed there for a number of years, got my doctorate and everything. And then I got a managerial position and just started going up from there. And during all that time, I coached and I mentored women so many times, so much in corporate world. Hey, Aisha. Hey, Lady Covington. How are you? Good to see you on tonight. Florida's in the house. And so all those years, I mentored, I coached women, didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know that I was coaching and mentoring. I just kind of did what I did best, which is, help women in different areas of their life, whether it was their calling, whether it was their career. I was called into the ministry in 1996, did my initial sermon in 2000, was ordained into the gospel ministry in 2005. And so all of those things have so much background, so much experience. And then in 1996, I literally had a life or death experience, realized life was short, and I wanted to do what I'd always wanted to do, and that was to go be a professor. And I was able to be a professor at my alma mater, NC State, and still am there today. I'm an adjunct assistant professor there today. Love it, love it, love it. And so then while I was there, I had an offer that I could not refuse. And that was to go and to be the vice president for the 58 community colleges in North Carolina. We call them the Great 58. And then progressed there, promoted, all the things that go along with working somewhere 16 years. And then right about year 12, I got the feeling that something wasn't right anymore. I really couldn't explain it. I really couldn't explain what I was feeling. I just knew that there was more for me in my life. I loved my job. I loved what I did. I loved the people. But I began to really feel like there were some things that were missing, and so I tried to compensate by going to church more and getting involved with more things at church, because I really love church work. I really love ministry. I really love all those kinds of things that go along with your calling. I love preaching. I love teaching. I thought that was going to put in there or give me what I really needed and what I really wanted, but it didn't. Let me stop right here because my mom and dad are on the line. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. How y'all doing? All right. I have to always stop when my mom and daddy get on here, right? And tell them hello. So I was, working and loving it, like I said, but there was something missing. I was getting all kinds of awards. I was NC State's Alumni of the Year. I was North Carolina's Technology Woman of the Year. I was Chief Information Officer of the Year for North Carolina. There were so many things that were happening in my life, but I still wasn't feeling fulfilled. I still felt like there was something missing in my life. I really didn't know what it was. I really didn't know how to explain it. And so then what happened was I literally, and I really believe this was a godsend, of that God made sure that I was at the right place at the right time, heard about a seminar in Atlanta called Speak for Pay. And it's by my mentor, still is my mentor, Marshawn Evans Daniels. Okay. You say you can't hear. Can anybody else not hear? Valerie says it may be on my end, but I can't hear. Let me know if anybody else cannot hear. I need to know whether or not you can't hear. I don't want to keep going if you can't hear, because this is very, very important on tonight. Somebody else let me know. Is anybody else having a problem not hearing? If you can hear me, say, oh, okay, Jacqueline says loud and clear. So, Valerie, you may need to go back out and come back in again. Okay, that may be the problem. Thank you, Jacqueline. And welcome. Vision coaches are in the house tonight. All right, and so, and when I realized there were some things missing, and I literally was a part of this seminar in Atlanta, and I invested in myself to go to the seminar. Thank y'all, Yolanda and Lily. I invested in myself to go to this seminar. I had never done anything like this outside of my tuition and paying tuition for NC State. I had never paid this much money to go and invest in me, because I was in the corporate world, and most of the time, your company pays for you, so you don't have to pay, right? And so anyway, so I made this investment. And then a whole new world opened up to me. And that's what happens when you invest in yourself. A world opens up to you that you probably didn't know about. And what happened for me is that I began to learn that all the things that I absolutely love doing, speaking, preaching, teaching, coaching, mentoring, that I could literally be doing those full time, and making money from it. Okay. And that could be my business. I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that there were already people all over the world with my expertise or less. And that's the thing that I really learned and began to understand, that people that have my level of expertise or even less were coaching. They were mentoring. They were just taking whatever their expertise was, and they were using that expertise to help others. And so when I found that out, when I went to the seminar in Atlanta, Marshawn Evans Daniels, she was the facilitator of the seminar. Absolutely fabulous. Okay. It literally changed my world. Literally changed my world, because then I realized the things that I had loved doing since I was a little girl, preaching and teaching and helping others and pouring into the lives of women, that I could actually do this full time. Now, I knew that I could not walk away from my 6-figure job at that point. That was like 2013, 14. I knew I could not do that then. I knew I had to do something to make sure that when the Lord said, okay, Saundra, now you can stop and walk away, I knew I had to have things in place to be able to do that. So I talked to my husband, and he got all the finances together such that he says, okay, I've always had things in place. Because when you work a job like I was working, I worked for community colleges. I was senior vice president in charge of all the technology, all the systems, all the data, all the libraries, all those kind of things. I was senior vice president in charge of all of that. All right. And the level that I was at, and here's what people don't understand about this level of position, especially in the state and basically anywhere. When you're at that level of a senior vice president, you work at will. Okay. You work at will of someone. For me, I worked at will of the president of the community college system and the state board. And so when you work at will like that, they can walk in your office tomorrow and tell you you've got 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or whatever. All right. So when I told my husband that, when I took the job, he said, well, you know what? We're going to start preparing now. So financially, we were fine. He had done some amazing things with our money. And so I didn't have to work for a very, very long time. If I wanted to stop working when I stopped and not do anything, he still had us financially covered. And that is a blessing, to be able to have that kind of spouse who knows money and knows how things work, such that he can put money back. And we never missed a beat in terms of our household. And still haven't. So I took 4 years, and I literally prepared for what I'm doing now. But here's what I found out. And this is what I want to go over with you tonight. What I want to discuss with you tonight is that before I could literally do the transition, meaning that before I could literally begin taking clients, and now keep in mind, I'm still working, and you can always have your side, something that you have on the side, right? I believe if you're working full time, everybody needs to have something on the side. Okay, if you're working full time. So I was working full time, but I still had something on the side, and that was the ministry, that was my coaching, that was my mentoring that I was doing, and everything. And so as I was doing that and preparing for that, here's something I found out. There were times when I'd have to question whether or not what I'm doing, am I really ready? Am I really ready to do this full time? Because see, what many people think that you get this itch or this feeling, and then you just walk away from your job and you're prepared. Boom, you're ready to start, and you're making all this money, and that does not happen. Okay, that does not happen. So I had heard people say that. So I said, well, you know what? When I walk off one job and into another, I don't want there to be any hiccups in our finances. I want us to go straight into the same kind of money I was making before and that sort of thing. So you have to prepare for that. But here's something I learned. This is what I want to discuss with you tonight. And that is that you have to prepare for your move, okay? For your move, mentally, spiritually, all right? Before you make that move and move to it physically, and when I say physically, I mean you actually leave one job and go to another. That's what I mean by physically, okay? Oh, and financially. Because see, the finances is really the easy part. Let me tell you. You just have to figure out how much money you need. And people say have 6 years, 6 years, have money in the bank for a certain amount of time. And all that is true. Okay. I don't teach that, and definitely not going to teach it tonight, because that's not what we're doing tonight. But you have to have all your finances in a row. One of these days, I said to my vision coaches, people that are enrolled in that program, I was going to show them, or have my husband show them what he did. And it was really, really a good system in terms of what he used to make sure that we were financially ready for me coming off that type of job and working full time in entrepreneurship and in ministry. And so I'm just looking at myself to make sure I'm still on on the computer. So but you have to make sure that it's more than just finances. It's more than just physically walking off one job and into the land of entrepreneurship and ministry. It's so much more than that. And there are some things that you have to know about being really ready before you actually act out being really ready. Okay? So I want you to get this. So you can act out, meaning that you act upon what it is you actually executed and you walk away from your job. You can actually do that. But if you're not really ready, meaning you're not really ready in terms of your spiritual, in terms of your mind, in terms of all of that, if you're not really ready, then I will tell you, you're going to walk out and things are not going to be as you thought they were going to be. And then what tends to happen is you either, I don't like to use the word fail, but you either don't stay in it long, okay? You don't stay in it long, or you quit that and you go back to work, or you don't. You realize, oh my goodness, I can't make any money from this. What's happening? So what I want to give you tonight is I want to give you three items, I guess I would say elements, 3 things, I don't know what to call it, okay, that let you know that you are really ready, okay, to leave your job and work your dream. Hey, Lady Jazz, how are you? Hey, Tina Moore Brown, good to see you tonight. Hello, Gail. And I know there's a lot of other people whose names went by, and I apologize. I was, speaking to you, so I didn't get an opportunity to actually call your name out. But thank everybody for being on here tonight. If you're watching this on the replay, please do a hashtag replay so we'll know you're watching it on the replay. And again, thank everybody for being on tonight. But I really want to stay focused tonight, because I want to make sure that you get this. And those of you that are full-time entrepreneurs, you know that you can't just walk into entrepreneurship or full-time ministry, all right, without having a plan beforehand. I love you too, Yolanda. Thank you so much. All right. You can't just walk into it. You've got to know. You've got to really know that it's time for you to go. And these are the 3 things that I want to give you on tonight. I want to give you these 3 pointers. Thank you. Now I see what you're saying, 3 pointers. Thank you, Yolanda. I want to give you these 3 pointers, these 3 elements, these 3 nuggets. I don't know what you'd call it, but whatever you want to call it. These are the 3 things that I had to really know before I actually started executing the work behind this. Because see, again, you can execute the work, all right, behind being a full-time entrepreneur in full-time ministry. You can actually execute the work. But if you're not ready spiritually, if you're not ready emotionally, if you're not ready mentally, if you're not ready for all of that, and let me rephrase that. If you're not really ready for all of that, then what'll happen is, like I said earlier, you'll get out there and you start going after everything. You're not focused. You don't have clarity. All of these things start to happen. Okay? All of these things start to happen. And I will tell you, and it's not good for you. It's not good for you, because then you feel like you're a failure. You feel frustrated. You feel, and I'll be frank with you. I felt that way during this time. I felt that way during, while I have been an entrepreneur and in ministry, I felt that way. But then the Lord revealed something to me. about being really ready, because when you're really ready, you're focused. There's so many things that go on with you. And so tonight, what I want to do tonight is to give you these things so that you will actually understand what it means to be really ready to leave your job and work your dream. What are the 3 elements, the things that you have to know before you go? Okay. Hey, April, my coach is here. Hi, how you doing? Yes, really ready. So what are those things that you have to know to be really ready? Because again, like I said, if you walk away at the wrong time, or if you walk away and you haven't sort of like counted these costs, and again, I'm not talking about financial. Okay, I'm not talking about the things that you have to do physically to walk away. I mean, literally leave the job and walk into the other. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those things that you have to know in your spirit, that you have to know in your mind, that you have to know in your heart. It's sort of the kind of thing that no one can teach you unless they've been there. Okay, unless they have been there. Now, people who have not walked away from their job, there are people who are working full time, and I can appreciate this, working full time and have $1 million businesses on the side. Fine, go for it. Okay, they can't teach you what I'm teaching because they haven't left their job. Okay, there are people who have great businesses on the side, but they're still working for somebody else 8 to 5. They cannot tell you what I'm telling you because they have not left the job. Because see, the leave your job and work your dream goes together. So if you really want to work your dream, if you really want to move in your calling full time, or if you really want to work in ministry full time, if you really want to be an entrepreneur full time, whatever your dream is, if this is what you really want to do, let me give you these 3 things that you need to know. Okay? And these are 3 things that you really need to know before you go. Okay? 3 things that you need to know before you go. Know about leaving your job before you step out and work your dream. Okay? Let's get these. Number 1. Okay? Number 1, okay? If you're writing, I want you to write these down. All right. Now, this is the first one is more of a I don't want to call it a feeling, but it's something about your work, something about what's going on, and that is when your job is too small to hold your gift, it's time to go. Okay? When your job is too small to hold your gift, then it's time to go. Or you could say, if your gift is bigger than your job, then it's time to go. So what do you mean by that, Dr. Saundra, if your job is too small to hold your gift? See, I had so much that was in me as a vice president. I had leadership. All right. I had mentoring. I had coaching. Just so many skills. You have no idea what you learn as a minister. I'm a minister. I was in very high level leadership. Okay. There was so much knowledge and wisdom that was built up in me. Okay. That people could talk to me for 5 minutes. I mean, literally, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm telling you what was real, or what is still real. Okay. That I could have women talking to me for 5 minutes and literally change the dynamic of how they thought and what they did in terms of their job or in their calling or in their career. Literally. Okay. So I knew that where I was, I couldn't contain it there. That what I was giving to community colleges, while it was great, again, I will always say that community colleges in North Carolina, the job that I had there, gave me what I needed, gave me the opportunity to be able to move forward and do what I am doing today. But what I found out is that in order for me to move forward with it full time, that what I had inside of me could not be contained there. That there were women outside. Okay, there were women and there were other people, women in different countries, women on different continents, women all over the world. And literally, I coach and mentor women all over the world in my programs. Okay, that there were women everywhere that needed what was on the inside of me. There were women that needed what does it mean to be in ministry and work full time. There were women who needed that information. There were women who needed, what does it mean to be an African American female and work in a certain area where most of the people are male and they treat you differently. Okay? There was so much in me. And those of you that have been mentored by me before or coached by me before, whether you've had me in community colleges or whether you've been in one of my programs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So my job had literally become too small for my gift. I don't want to say that I had outgrown the job, but what was inside of me could no longer be contained within the 8 to 5, all right, or the 9 to 5 that I was put into every day. Okay. And you know it can't be contained when you walk into the building, and although you love what you do and you're very appreciative of the job, you know it can't be contained when as soon as you walk in the door, someone pulls you to the side and says, Dr. Williams, can I talk to you for a minute? Okay. So that's one of the things that you have to understand, that you know that you can leave your job and work your dream if the gifting inside of you has now become bigger than your job, that your 9 to 5 can no longer contain the gifting in you. Okay. I knew that teaching God's word all over the world was something I was going to be doing. I couldn't do that if I had to be downtown from 9 to 5 every day. Okay. But what my 9 to 5 did, well, wait a minute, I don't want to get into number 2. Okay. So let me just not go that far. I don't want to get into my number 2 yet. Okay. So remember, number 1, you know that it's time to go. You know that it's time for you to, and I don't want to say it's time for you to go. I want to say it's time for you to prepare to go. Okay. And some people just say it's time to go. No, I want to say that it's time for you to prepare to go. All right. Prepare to take your next step. Prepare to transition out when your job has become too small to hold your gift. Okay. When what's inside of you cannot be contained by the 9 to 5 that you have to do every day. Okay. Now, don't walk in your job tomorrow and say, what's inside of me can't be contained by the gifting in me is just too big for this place. I got to go. No, because you might have to stay there another 4 years like I did. You might have to stay there another 4 years until you are really ready now to make the physical step out and into full time. Okay, that's a whole nother teaching. So if you've got number one is, again, your job is too small. You know it's time to really get ready to prepare to go if your job has become too small for your gift. If what's inside of you, what you pour out every day can't be contained just there, that there are people all over the world that need you and need what you have to say. Okay, number 2. All right, now, this is one of my favorites. Actually, number 3 is one of my really good favorites, but I like this one too. You know, number 2 comes from when I hired a very, very, I'm not sure how to describe this man. I hired him as one of my associate vice presidents. And anytime I hire somebody that works directly for me, meaning they're reporting to me, the one question I always ask them is, what would make you want to leave this position? What would make you want to leave this position? And when I asked this question of the young man, well, he's not a young man, he's older than me, but very mature, IBMer or retired IBMer, had state government kinds of experience, and he wanted to come work for me. And I couldn't figure out, why would he want to come work for me? He doesn't know me, all right, or anything. So why does he want to come work here? But he did. And I wanted all the things that went with him, all his background, all his experience. I knew I was going to gain a lot just from hiring him. But I asked him, in the interview, what would make you want to leave? And this is what he told me. And this is your number 2. You know it's time to go when, all right? You know it's time to go when you are giving more to the job than the job is giving to you. Okay, you need to write that one down. Number 2, you're giving more to the job than the job is giving to you. So what do you mean, Dr. Saundra? Now, the job, if you work full time, the job is supposed to pay you. Okay, it's supposed to give you whatever salary it is that you're making. Whatever that salary is, you divide it by 12, and that's what the job is supposed to give you, right? But here's the thing. The job also gives you professional development. The job also gives you personal development in some areas. The job also gives you other opportunities for growth, working in teams, okay, communication, connection skills, all of these other kinds of things that the job gives you. So that when you come into a job every single day, you really should ask yourself, what is this job going to do for me today? How is it going to build me? So that I can go out and I can do even more with what's in me. How is this job adding to me? Because see, if your job is only adding a paycheck to you every week or every 2 weeks or every month, wrong job. All you're in is something that is not building you up. Because see, when you give more to the job than the job gives to you, that means the job isn't doing anything for you. Now, I'm not going to say that paying your bills isn't anything, because you have to work. Okay, you got to work. And I totally understand that. Believe me, I totally understand that. Okay, but that job should also be what is helping you and putting inside of you those skills and abilities that when you leave the job, you can still go out and use those skills and abilities to be able to make money, to be able to work in ministry. Believe me, I was on actually was staff to the State Board of Community Colleges for 16 years. Okay, my position was State Board. I had to learn to present to boards. I had to learn how boards operate. Okay, and now I'm on 3 different boards right now. Okay, I'm working for myself, and I'm still on, people still come to me and ask me to be on their board of directors because of the leadership, because of the background. But you know what? I wouldn't have had that if community colleges didn't give that to me. And I say they did give it to me because as part of my job, I had certain distinct experiences, certain distinct abilities, certain distinct set of skills that I brought to the job. And community colleges and the work that I did for community colleges just added on to that. So here's the thing. If you're working in a job and you're on that job and it's not really adding to you, then I question, are you in the right place? Now, it may be. Now, here's something you really need to hear and understand. Thank you, Lady Covington. Thank you, Daisha. All right, for your comments. Here's something that you really need to understand. All right. Sometimes, if you're giving more to the job than the job gives to you, it may be that your next step is not out and on your own thing. Do your own thing. Work your dream. It may be that there's another job that you need to go to so that you can be built, so that you can learn, so that you can have those experiences and put those into your next. All right. So many people don't realize that jobs are stepping stones. Okay. Jobs are stepping stones for you to be able to go and work your dream. I'm telling you, when you figure this out, and one of the things that people don't realize is every day, even now I'm running my own company. Even now, I wake up every day and go, okay, what am I going to learn? What am I going to learn about being a coach today? You know why? Because I have a coaching certification. I certify coaches. The more I know, the more they know. It's several of them on here. I see one of my Ohio coaches on here right now. I see her likes going by. Okay. So the more I know, the more they know. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? So even now that I'm running my own company, I still wake up and come to my office every single morning. What am I going to learn? What is the Vision Building Institute going to give me today? I'm not talking about a salary. I'm talking about how is being the CEO of the Vision Building Institute, how is that going to grow Dr. Saundra? Okay, so ask yourself, when you walk into your job tomorrow, ask yourself, how is working here, okay, and you fill in the blank, how is working at blank, and you fill that in, how is that growing me? How is that making me stronger? How is that feeding the dream that I have? And if it's not, and you say, well, I'm giving more, Okay, we might say, well, Dr. Saundra, what do you mean giving more? You're staying at work late all the time. Okay, yes, you might get overtime, but that's money. All right, I'm talking about things that can add to who you are, add to your skills, add to your abilities. You know, when I wrote this book right here, when I wrote my first book, The Ministry Within, all right, The Ministry Within, I was able to write that, okay, because I had to have a certain set of writing skills. Now, yes, I had written a dissertation. I understand all that. But writing a dissertation is a whole lot different than writing this kind of book, okay? And so then I wrote my next workbook. Well, it's not really a workbook. It's more of a journal. Journal slash teach. It's a teaching journal, actually. I call it a teaching journal. Momentum. 21 Days to Momentum. All right? And all of that was because of some of the experiences that I had as a vice president in the community college system. So you see, that's what the community colleges, that's what that job gave to me. So my job was continuously giving to me. My job taught me how to handle adversity. My job taught me how to handle difficult situations. My job taught me how to negotiate. My job taught me so much, and it was constantly giving to me. So my question for you becomes, you know that it's time to leave your job, or to prepare, get that right. It's time to prepare to leave your job to work your dream if you're giving more to the job than the job is giving to you. All right? Make sure you got that one, because that one's an important one. That one's one that you can literally look at every single day and ask yourself, am I giving more to this job than the job is giving to me? That doesn't mean you walk away tomorrow. That means you prepare for your next step. Your next step could be another job before you walk out full time. Okay, before you're in full time. And for some of you, you don't want to do full time, and that's fine. But whatever your dream is, whatever that dream is the job that you're in today, is it giving you what you need? Okay, for some of you, you're maybe in project management, or you maybe even have the opportunity to get certain certifications. All right, there are certifications that I have right now, or that I actually got as a part of community colleges, being at that level. There were certifications that I had to have just because of the job I had and the oversight that I had. There were certain certifications that I have that I still have today. You think I'm not still paying my yearly investment or dues to be able to keep that certification? Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm not losing my certification just because I don't do that job anymore. Okay, because those certifications come in handy when people look at my credentials. All right, sometimes you leave a job, and because the job was paying for something, now you don't want to pay for it. You don't want to shell out the $250 a year. I've got one certification that's over $1,000 a year, and you best believe when it rolls around here, I pay it every single time. I pay it every single time because I know how that adds to my credentials. And you all remember, now, the job gave me that the first time. That credential was given to me by the job because it was paid for by the job. All right? But then when I left the job's not going to pay for that. But I still paid for it. But first I credit the job giving it to me, because I never would have even heard of the credential had I not even been in that particular position. So again, if you're giving more to your job and you're not getting fed, you're not growing, you're not learning every single day from that job for something you can take and do on your own, or take and apply to your calling, take and apply to your career, then you need to reevaluate whether you're in the right place, or whether it's time now for you to prepare to go on to your next. If this is good to you, let me know. If this is good to you, give me or this is helping you. I shouldn't say good to you. I'm sure it's good to you. But is it helping you? Because see, one of the things that I didn't have someone to sit down with me and say, Saundra, before you leave, let me talk to you about this. I didn't have that. I didn't have that because most of the people I hung around were still working. They were still working. Okay, so good. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now, let's review really quickly. So number one is, it's time to go, when your job is too small to hold your gift, or what's inside of you cannot be contained by what's in by the gifting, or the gift inside of you cannot be contained in the 9-to-5 work that you do every day. You know there's more people that need your help. You know there are more people that God has called you to, more people for you to serve. You know that. Okay. Number 2, that when you give more to the job than the job is giving to you, then you know that it's time to go. You know that it's time for you to say, you know what, I've got to prepare now. I've got to prepare. And sometimes preparation can be a long time. Let me tell you that. Preparation can be a long time. Now, one of the things I'm doing, and many people have asked me to do this, and I'm finally going to do it, y'all. Finally going to do it, okay? I do things when the Lord tells me to, when the Lord releases me to, all right? Finally going to do a free 2-hour masterclass on leaving your job to work your dream, okay? Or, I think I'm going to change the title to Preparing to Leave Your Job to Work Your Dream. Because you can't just leave. You've got to prepare. You've got to prepare, okay? And I'm going to go through all the different elements of that in this masterclass. I'm going to give you the different elements. You'll understand them. Now, I'm not going to give you all the details of them, of course, okay? It's only 2 hours. But I do want you to be able to understand what you have to do to prepare to leave your job to work your dream. Okay, so now let me give you number 3. Now, I said number 2 was kind of my favorite. Number 2 again was, remember, when you give more to the job than the job gives to you. All right, but number 3 is one that really, really caps it off. Okay, you know that it's time to go when, you got to get this one, your relationships on the job are all lateral. Your relationships on the job are all lateral. Okay? I just want to look at my screen, make sure it's okay. Okay? Your relationships are all lateral. So you say, Dr. Saundra, what do you mean? If you are not developing on your job, if you're not developing higher level relationships every day, then you need to start either looking for something outside, all right, or either start volunteering for different things on the job where you can have access to higher level type relationships. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. Now, you may say, well, Dr. Saundra, why do I need those? Okay, you need to be around people on your job so you can learn more, okay, that are higher level thinkers than you. And not that they're smarter than you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people are smarter than you. What I'm saying is they have a body of knowledge and they think differently. That their breadth and their scope is wider than yours. And when their breadth and their scope is wider than yours, then they begin to think differently because they just have more an experience base than you have. But when your relationships are lateral, that means that everybody that you only work with people that know what you know. And you're not having these higher level, and I'm not saying that you're at the table at these higher level conversations, because I understand, if you're in a job where you're at the very first level and you don't have that kind of access to different people. I totally get that. I totally understand that. But here's the thing. Volunteer for something so that you can have access to people at a higher level than you, so you can learn how to operate at that level. If all your relationships on your job are lateral, what are you going to learn? Okay, you're not going to learn any more than what they know. And they don't know any more than you do. So you need to learn at a higher level. Let me give you an example. So when I was working for community colleges, there was always some sort of social thing that we were always doing, right? And there were always committees. Yes, you want to be around people, like Lady Jazz says, that are where you want to be. There were always committees that you could sign up for, or always a committee to do something. But here's the thing. On every single one of those committees was always a person that was a higher level. Always a person that was a higher level. Sometimes I would be in charge of a committee, or one of my counterparts, another vice president would be in charge of a committee, or there may be directors on the committee, or there may be associate vice presidents. Sometimes the president himself would be on that committee. And when you volunteer for those kinds of committees, you're now getting access to people and developing relationships with people that you wouldn't have if you stayed stuck in your cubicle or stayed stuck in your office. You're not, here's the thing that people just get me with. Now, you're not going to have anything other than lateral relationships if you keep saying this right here. That's not my job. I come to work to get a paycheck and go home. Yeah, you're right. You come to work to get a paycheck and go home, and you're going to stay at work, keeping on getting that paycheck for the next 30 years. And then you're going to not be able to retire because you can't afford to retire. You know, I heard somebody say that one day, and it broke my heart. They had been working for 32 years. 32 years in state government. Let me say it again. 32. They have been working 32 years and made the comment to me they could not afford to retire. I can't understand that. I don't understand that, because you need to understand something. And this is something I learned when I moved away, I had lateral relationships, but when I had relationships that were a higher level from me, then I started hearing things like retirement is not about time, retirement is about money. Okay? And then I began to understand retirement is not about how much time that I have worked. Retirement is about how much money I have to keep me going once I decide not to work. Okay? But those kind of conversations are the kind of conversations you hear when you begin to develop relationship, exactly, from people that are smarter, more experienced than you are. So if you're at your job, and I like that, Lady Jazz, you're the smartest one in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And so you need to figure out, well, okay, Dr. Saundra, I just can't go bust into another meeting. No, you can't. But if there is a Christmas committee, all right, and people say, we want some people to sign up to help with to plan what we're going to do for the holiday season, then get on the committee, y'all. It's not going to hurt you. If there's a committee and people say we want to figure out how we're going to maybe design the new part of the building, then get on it, because you're going to learn something that you didn't already know. I will never, ever forget when I just volunteered for the committee, a particular committee, when I first got to community colleges, because I didn't know anybody. And one of my mentors, Hilda Penix Ragland, she and I had breakfast the other morning, actually. She told me, she said, before I started working there, she says, you've got to get to know the people. You've got to get to know the people, and they've got to get to know you. So I went ahead and I signed up for this particular committee. You will not even begin to imagine what I learned about state government just by being on that committee. And it was something, I think it was something like Employee of the Year or something like that. I don't even remember what it was. But just so much I learned. So much about rules and regulations and things. I mean, I was a professor at NC State. Professors are in our own little world. Okay? We're in our own little world. So although we were at NC State, we were state government employees, because NC State is a state institution, we're in our own little world over there. That's totally different than working for community college system or Department of Transportation or Department of Revenue. Those are state agencies, and it's totally different. And I wouldn't have known that had I not stepped out and said, well, let me learn something. So see, that's where my relationships, I learned that my relationships, when I only hung out with people that were like me, that were at my level, I'm not growing. Like Lady Jazz said, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room and you need to get a new room. Okay? I don't like being the smartest person in the room. Now, I may be a person that knows more about this particular subject than you do, but you best believe I'm going to be in a group of people that knows more about something than I do, so that I can learn and I can grow from them. If all your relationships are lateral relationships, you're not growing. If you go to the job every day and you're with the same people every day, you have lunch with the same folk every day, go out and have lunch with somebody different. Have lunch with a different colleague. Have lunch with somebody else in the building and learn what they do. How do you know you don't want to go over there and be in that department, but you don't know what they do? All right. I was talking to someone And she and I were talking about her next move in terms of her career. And I was saying to her, well, what is it exactly that you want to do? I said, you're in a very big company, and the company that you're in, your size, you have lots of opportunity. When you work for big companies, it's a whole lot different than when you work for smaller companies, because there's just more things to do. And so, as we were talking, I was giving her some things she could do and that sort of thing. And she said, Dr. Saundra, she says, I never knew that. I said, that's because you are in my company. I've been more places than you. I've done more leadership than you. Okay? And when you're hearing from me, you're hearing from somebody who has been there, done that. Now I'm teaching others. Okay? Now I'm coaching and mentoring others full time. All right? But as opposed to you're talking to your counterpart, what are they going to tell you? What is someone that's doing the exact same thing, or may not be doing the exact same job, but they're at the same level you are? What are they going to tell you? Let me give you another example. Even now in my coaching, my coach, I'm not sure if she's still on here or not. I saw her, she was on here earlier. But yes, I love that, Dr. Hardy. Enlarge your tent. All right. What's that? That's my favorite, right? Isaiah 54 and 2, actually. So, one of the things that I've learned in this business, in the business that I'm in, coaching, mentoring, the personal and professional development. Okay, my company is a company that is personal and professional development for women who want to move forward in their calling and or their career. That's what I do. That's where I focus. And so, but there are lots of different things about this business that I don't know. So tell me, help me here. Why would I go and try to learn from someone who is where I am? You have to learn from someone who knows more than you. I have to learn from someone who knows more than me. That's why my coach, she was on here earlier. I'm not sure if she's still here, but one of the things that she does is she teaches us specific things in business, specific systems and those sorts of things. So I learn those. I glean from that. And that makes my company better. Some of you wonder how I can do all that I do. It's because I don't just have lateral relationships. I have people in my life, all right, that can tell me how to move forward faster. And here's the thing. If you're at work and you're hanging around the same people and your relationships at work are all lateral, meaning that everybody in the room kind of knows the same thing, and you're not hanging out or at least on some committees with, or at least doing some work with or volunteering with people that are at a higher level than you, then it's time to go. Or either if you may say, well, Dr. Saundra, I've got to stay in my job. I've got to be paid. Okay, get that. Then find it somewhere else. Okay, find it someplace else. Go volunteer so you can be around people at a higher level. Do something. All right. As my line sister, her slogan, or what do you call it? I think it's called the slogan, is do something. I actually saw the T-shirt she designed with something on that, with that actually on there. Okay, do something. You can. If you stay where you are, you're going to get to the point where you're going to be frustrated. But you've got to prepare to leave. All right? And preparation, you can start the preparation right where you are. You can start the preparation before you go to bed tonight and ask yourself, what frame of mind do I have to be in when I go to work tomorrow? So many times you don't want to go to work because I don't want to go to this job. Oh, this job is holding me back. Oh, all these you know what? God is saying the reason why you don't want to go to the job is because you're not looking. I got to go spiritual here, right? You're not looking for what God has in store for you when you walk through the door. All you're looking at is the fact that I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do 2, I got to do 3, I got to do 5, 6, 7 things tomorrow at my job. But no, don't look at it that way anymore. Look at it as everything that you do. Look at it as opportunity. Look at it as opportunity that God is giving you. All right. And it's all a part of the preparation. It's all a part of the preparation. Remember, if there's so much in you If there's so much in you that it cannot be contained by what you do 9 to 5, meaning that you know you're ready to go out and speak, you know you're ready to do coaching, you know you're ready to mentor, you know you're ready to write the book, you know you're ready to even maybe go to a different career, okay? Or you know you're ready to do something new, then it may be time for you to prepare to leave, okay? If you know, number 2, that you're giving more to the job than the job is giving to you, you know that every day you go to work and all you're doing is getting a paycheck. The job is no longer feeding you. I have a friend, her name is Donna Hicks Izzard, and Donna, she calls this, that when the job feeds you, she calls that the silent investor, that her job is her silent investor. And some of you need to start making your job your silent investor. That means that what you do every day, that you're learning and you're growing and you're gleaming, even, think about it this way, even if you get in like something where you don't know how to do something and you have to figure it out. Well, what is the process that you use to problem solve? Do you know that there are courses on how to solve a problem and people make money from that? You know, people call me sometimes and say, Dr. Saundra, yes, I love the DI. Me too, Robin. All right, she's a good friend of mine. So, and again, when we talk about people, who are the people that you're hanging around? What do they know? All right? Who are the people that you talk to about your business, about your calling, about your career? Who are those people? All right? So when the job gives more to you, then when you give more to the job than the job is given to you, might be time to prepare to leave and work your dream. Okay? But again, I keep saying prepare. I keep saying prepare. I'm not a proponent of just walking away. You've got to prepare for it. And then the last one is your relationships are lateral. If you're the smartest one in the room, if you don't have high-level relationships, if you're not in a group of high-level relationships, then I tell you what, you're going to stay where you are. I'm not trying to be ugly about it. I'm not trying to say that you're going to be stuck. I'm not saying that. I don't believe that Christians get stuck. All right. But what I am saying is that if you want, go to Isaiah. Where's my Bible? I think it's across the room. It is. All right. If you want to read something every day, read Isaiah 54:2. That talks about enlarging your tent, strengthening your cords, strengthening your stakes, lengthening your cords. Read that every single day. Read it every single day. Okay. And then ask myself, when I go into my job, is that happening to me? Is my job doing that for me? It might be time to prepare to go. And again, I'm not telling anybody to leave your job. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that if that's your desire, then you've got to prepare for it. So I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to have a free masterclass on just that. How do you prepare to leave your job so that you can work your dream? How do you prepare to leave your job so that you can work your dream? This is not something to take lightly because first and foremost, you got to hear from God. All right. That's first and foremost. You got to hear from God. So I want you all to start preparing. I want you all to start determining what is it that I have to do? What is it that I need to do tomorrow so that when I walk into my job, I see it as opportunity and not an obstacle? What do I have to do so that I can prepare my mind, okay, to be ready to go into this job? Okay, so now I tell you what, again, don't forget these 3 elements on tonight. Don't forget these, that if your job is too small to handle your gift, if you're giving more to the job than the job is giving to you, if all your relationships on the job are lateral, then it may be time for you to prepare to go. All right? Again, I tell you what, God has so much in store for you, but we have to be prepared and ready to walk into it. Okay? You know, I train and certify vision coaches. I'm getting ready to open the doors for cohort 3 for my vision coach certification program. And it's actually now, we've actually changed it. And I don't want to talk about that because I've already talked about the mastermind or the actual free master class that I have coming up. So I don't want to get into the mastermind right now because you really have to be ready to be in a mastermind with me. My vision coaches that are on here will tell you being in a mastermind with me is like being on, I don't want to say being on steroids, like one of those things where you just get so much. And I'm not saying that just because it's me. I'm saying that because that's just the way it is. All right. When you're in a group and you all are doing different level, next level kinds of things, your conversation is different. The conversation is different. The way you work is different. And the vision coaches that have been a part of this and who are now doing their own sorts of things, it amazes me where they are now versus where they were just, 6-8 months ago. Okay? So I want you to be on the lookout for my masterclass, How to Prepare to Leave Your Job So You Can Work Your Dream. I want you to be on the lookout for that. I want you to be ready for that, because if you're really ready to do that, then you really want to get in that masterclass. Okay, it's a free masterclass. I'm going to tell you it's going to be 2 hours. It will be live. All right, it will be recorded, but it will only be for those who actually register for it. The recording will go to those people who actually register for the masterclass. So registration is going to open soon. Get ready for it. Get prepared for it. And I kid you not, you will get prepared. I keep using the word prepared because I don't want anybody to think you can just go from here and just step into a job and step into your dream and you're ready tomorrow, because you're not. Okay, I don't care what anyone tells you. All right, now, except for God, of course. Okay, so if God were to say, leave, I want you to leave tomorrow. Believe me, if that's what you're hearing from the Lord, then you go for it. Okay, but I believe that when you properly prepare, then God will open up doors. All right, He'll make it such that you can go. When you have what's necessary to go, then God will make it such that you can go. And all the things that you even wondered about, some of the things that I wondered about, oh my God, how is this going to happen? What's going to happen here? How is Dennis going to handle this? God took care of every bit of that. Why? Because I prepared. I knew I could recognize by the 3 things that I gave you tonight. When I recognized those 3 things were happening, I knew it was time for me to prepare. I knew it was time for me to get ready to take that next step. Okay, and that next step for you all is going to be this 2-hour masterclass. So you all get ready for it, be ready for it, and sign up for it, because it's not going to happen here in this Vision Building Institute. Vision Building Women Group. It's actually going to be a live class via Zoom, and only the people who register for it will be able to take the class. I'm very serious about this. I'll tell you why. Because I'm like some of my coaches. I listen to my coaches, and they work with women who are serious about going to that next step. I'm the same way. I want to work with women who are serious about taking the next step in their life. If that's you, this masterclass is for you. So I hope you all had a great teaching on tonight. Y'all, it is 10:01. Can you believe that? I hope you all got something out of this masterclass. Lady Jazz, watch the group, watch your email. And Lady Jazz, you will know about it even sooner because you're in the inner circle. So the inner circle and my vision coaches know about everything before everyone else does. Okay, so you guys will know about it soon. Registration will open soon. Right now, I'm just kind of getting you prepared so that you listen to this, you'll know it's coming. Okay, so y'all have a fabulous, fabulous week. And I will see you in the group this week. See you soon. Bye-bye.